Alright, boys, listen. We're doing the TBC talk. We are going to watch MadSeason's video about which class to pick in TBC, how to pick them, which ones are good, which ones are bad. Let's watch the video. Let's see what's going on here, man. MadSeason. Wow. That's fucking sleek, dude.
You are not prepared. After all, that's why you clicked this video, right? The Burning Crusade is coming, and you are undecided of your main class. I can't really say that I blame you. I'm sure many of you have played Vanilla Classic, and you'd of course know that the classes are much more clear-cut. You want a tank, you pick a warrior.
Yep.
You want to be the best healer, roll a priest. Best DPS, warrior. Smallest wiener size, mage.
True.
Over a year ago, I helped guide you in your class choice for
Biggest wiener size, Warlock.
Vanilla Classic, and many people have requested the same thing for BC, so I've returned now at the turn of the tides.
Fuck.
I'll tell you right now, though,
Dude, that's me. That's me on my fucking
Classic,
gnome.
and many people have requested the
Look at
same
that.
thing for BC.
Look at this.
So I've returned now.
Having this set of gear on a fucking gnome. Oh, man, dude. You look so fucking sick. Like, right as you're pumping your shadow bolts, your wings flare up. God fucking damn, man. Oh, dude, all day. Yesterday and today, all day in my free time, I've been watching TBC Arena videos. Dude, I am so fucking hyped, man.
Now at the turn of the tides.
I've decided. I'm not even kidding. Like, you guys are gonna cap. I'm getting glad. Like, I was considering not doing it, and then I was considering doing it. Like, I'm actually going really hard in Arena. I wasn't really planning on going that hard. I am seriously going all in TBC Arena, okay? I'm going fucking hard, dude. I'm gonna, and not only, by the way, like, here's the thing. If I just get glad once in TBC, people are gonna say it was a fluke, you just got lucky, you got boosted, whatever, man. I'm gonna get glad 4 seasons in a row. I decided that today. I've come to my decision. I will be getting glad season 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's how it's gonna be. Like, that's my game plan. Okay.
I'll tell you right now, though, it'll be a different choice. These
That's what I'm
classes
gonna
all
do.
have roles as they do in Vanilla,
Yeah.
but it's not as extreme, and the disparities between them are lessened. Now,
yeah.
there's not a clear-cut winner for tanking or healing or whatever. There are no more, quote, useless specs that have been weaned out of the meta in Vanilla, and not just through damage, healing, or damage mitigation. As you'll see, there are a bunch of these little buffs and debuffs
Damn.
that warrants bringing at least one of these specs along to the raid usually. They're all still unique in their own right, but they're much more competitive. Those disappointed that Shadow Priest didn't see much use in Vanilla Classic raiding will rejoice in the fact that they're quite important for BC. Hunters have their time in the spotlight, and those upset at the overpowered nature of bullshit Frost Mages will be just as upset because honestly, they're pretty crazy in BC too. When people think the Burning Crusade, they think of hallmark features such as arena, jewel crafting, and heroics, when in reality, if you had to pick the biggest change, it would probably be how these classes evolved. And my goal in this video is to explain to you in what ways they have, what they excel at, and so on. It's still
Okay.
the early stages of MMO design. As you'll see, there's still a lot of one-button classes in PvE, but still, lots of evolution across the board.
I don't know why he showed a
Something we
Warlock
have
when
to
he said
address
that.
first,
That's
though,
kind of fucked
and
up.
I'll mention this throughout the video, is that these classes are heavily affected by some of the more broad sweeping changes to the PvE and PvP scene in BC. For example, the raids are reduced to 25-man, and debuff slots are increased from 16 to 40.
That's
Therefore,
right.
you have much more freedom in applying debuffs and dots to bosses. Anyone who's raided in Vanilla knows that Hunters don't want to use Serpent Sting, Shadow Priests don't want to use Shadow Word Pain, and certain items are frowned upon because they take critical debuff slots. So, due to this decreased raid size and increased debuff cap, you have way more freedom to actually play your class in BC. This opens up the door to Warlocks using dots, Feral Druids using bleeds, and much more. And speaking of freedom, you see support for each spec not only through class balance, but also through itemization. Those who played Vanilla know that the armor sets were all designed for just one spec per class. For example,
Dude, I'm so curious to see what a lot of the top classic WoW guilds, we're talking like Progress and Onslaught and Apes and, you know, like a lot of these guys, I wonder if these guilds move on and try to be dominant in TBC, or if they just kind of stay on vanilla. It's going to be very, very interesting, right?
Example, every tier set for warriors was designed around
What the
tanking,
game plan
and
is.
DPS warriors had to get a random mishmash of offset pieces to support their playstyle. It was the Burning Crusade is when they added multiple versions of tier sets for each and every spec, providing the appropriate stats and also set bonuses for both PvE and PvP. In the raiding scene, melee in general have a tougher time as they have more cleaves and AoEs to dodge.
Dude, I totally forgot. Let me see. TBC gear, TBC arena gear rating requirements. Let me see. Okay. Level 70 blue set available from launch until 2.4. Honor and Battleground marks, I remember that. Blue set 2 available starting in 2.4, identical to blue set 1. Stat-wise, required honor with various PvE rewards and purchase with gold. Okay, so this changed how you got it. Season 1 gear, Season 1 costs arena points. Season 2 gear, during Season 2 gear costs arena points. Season 1 gear gets a discount in arena points. I seem to remember, like, a lot of the offsets, actually, like you know, Season 2 necklace and rings and bracers and whatever the fuck. You had to use battleground marks for that also, I think. Season 3 gear, arena points, weapons, shoulders, requires certain arenas. Oh, wait. Wait, it was only starting in Season 3 where there were rating requirements? I totally forget that. In Season 1 and 2, there were no rating requirements? Is that actually the truth? How... Is that actually true? God, this shit was so long ago. I totally fucking forget, man. Wow. That's actually a really big deal. That means that pretty much every player in the game that's like raiding and doing dungeons and stuff is going to want to farm arena points every single week in order to get the free welfare Season 1 gear, which doesn't have any rating attached to it. And the best way to get arena points, if you remember right, is to get is to queue 5s, because 5's arena gives the most points, 2's gives the least amount of points, and then you get more points each week the higher rating you are. That means that 5's, you're going to have guilds of players that are making like guild 5v5 arena teams during Season 1 and Season 2 also, if there's no rating requirements, just to farm arena points each week to get their free arena gear, which is actually decent in PvE, which they can use before they get their PvE bis. So 5's is going to be a very active bracket if people are like min-maxing in the way that I think they are. I totally forget a lot of this shit. Wow, okay. Wow.
I think this has always been the case with the game to some extent, but BC has the reputation of being pretty unfriendly to melee classes in particular.
Yeah, I love 5's.
So something to keep in mind there.
I love 5's.
World buffs are nerfed. The meta in Classic Vanilla changes with world buffs. For example, Hunters would be much better in comparison if the world buff meta didn't exist, because they don't benefit as much from them. They're gone in BC though, with the exception of 1, which is huge in the realm of class balance. Shaman is now playable by...
Wait, let me see here. Wait, let me rewind. Okay.
Though, with the exception of 1, which is huge.
Well, yeah, like this is not something, this is like, okay. Are you gonna have guilds? Are you gonna have guilds? Boosting alts, pumping alts, up to 70, completing the Alcatraz key quest. Are people really gonna do this? Like, are people really gonna do this? Here's the thing, like, in TBC, no one gives a fuck about physical damage DPS. Like, wow, you can make your arms warrior do 15% more damage. Wow, that arms warrior DPS. Wow. Who fucking cares? Like, you're doing dog shit DPS anyway. It's like, does this affect hunters? No. Does this affect warlocks? No. Okay, don't care.
In the realm of class balance.
I mean, I guess it might affect hunters. I guess it might. Physical damage? I don't know why my brain just immediately thought melee. I don't know, maybe it would.
Shaman is now playable by the Alliance and Paladin by Horde. So if you wrote those classes off because you're a faction first kind of player, they're now worth exploring. And on the PvP side of things, Arena is the new endgame competitive PvP activity.
Yeah.
So you're going from these wide open battlegrounds to enclosed arenas with line of sight everywhere, which has a huge effect. For example, Hunters not being as strong as they were in Vanilla, in this aspect being one of them. In an open field, Hunters and the Dothraki can 1v1 just about anyone, so it's a much different story in an arena setting. Crowd control effects were nerfed
I'm
to
so
last
fucking
no longer
excited,
than
man.
12 seconds. So say so long to mages being able to indefinitely reset fights, or grabbing a beer when you're getting chain sapped. Classes that used to rely solely on burst aren't as godlike with the advent of the resilience stat, and much
Thank
more.
God.
Again, I'll take notes of all of this when the time is right.
The reason Blizzard added resilience was because of elemental shamans in Classic WoW. Like, that's why.
But I just wanted to mention all
And
of
it's a
this
good
now
thing
to
that
get
they
you in
did.
that mindset that it's not just your class that's changing, but it's also the environment around you. And I'd argue that's just as important as the classes themselves.
Hey, what is... God, I'm going to pause this video so fucking much, man. Like, this video is just, like, procking so many memories. What is resilience cap? Like, I'm pretty sure as an SL Warlock, I want to gem and enchant all the way up to resilience cap, and then probably go just, like, straight spell power, right? It's 420. It's something like that. Is it actually 420? Yeah, I'm procking my memories. It's 400 and something. Yeah, it's like around there if I remember right. So yeah, I just cap out resilience and then I do spell power and I just literally shit on fucking everyone, man, dude. I remember like you'd start an arena match, like you'd summon a Voidwalker, you'd sacrifice it, you summon a Fell Hunter, and you'd go out and for the first like 25 seconds of the match, you'd have Voidwalker sack out and you just go and you just fucking own. Like you just run in there like a fucking wrecking ball and just shit on everyone, dude. God damn, man. Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, man.
For the sake of keeping the length of this video down, if you're curious about PvE rotations or PvP gameplay, I'll have some nice examples of both in the description for each class and spec. May as well see those in action, right? So definitely check them out.
No, there's no dampening. Nope.
The hunter is the master of the wilds, and isn't shy of exploring the unknown of the outland. Of course, with the trusty companion by their side. As you'd expect, they have a focus on dealing out range damage, and that's where they're the most comfortable. But
2 healers hunter, yeah, specifically. Like, dude, this video is procking so many fucking memories from playing TBC back in the day. Holy shit, dude. I remember we'd run into teams. It was Resto Druid, Hunter, Disc Priest. And they would just sit there and sustain themselves and just leech your mana, and they would play the long game. Holy fuck. Just fucking end my life in Minecraft. Just end my Minecraft life. Oh, God, that shit is so AIDS.
But they can hold their own face-to-face if it comes to it. They're one of 2 classes to have direct control over a companion pet, with hundreds of families or variations to tame out in the wild. And aside from their powerful ranged attacks, they have a selection of traps to damage, slow, weaken, or otherwise debilitate anyone or anything unfortunate enough to spring them. They're arguably the masters of kiting in the Burning Crusade, and fighting against them is like chasing the greased-up deaf guy. The Beast Mastery tree focuses on improving the combat capabilities of your pet, and is far more powerful in the expansion. Marksmanship holds powerful ranged attacks, and Survival, aptly named, increases your survivability, and also utility and support to teammates. They received some updates to core functionality, such as their dead zone. This will largely depend on how Blizzard does BC Classic, as this was in patch 2.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably going to run Classic TBC off of 2.4.3, right? So, Hunters are, in Classic TBC, probably not going to have a dead zone. That'd be my expectation.
3, but the Hunter's dead zone was nearly eliminated. As you may know, in Vanilla, if enemies get too close to you, you're unable to shoot or use most ranged abilities as they have a minimum range. And of course, there's a maximum range to your melee abilities, so you have this gap where you can't melee nor shoot. This is called the dead zone.
No, by the way, because people keep asking, to clarify, Classic TBC has not been announced. There's no date. I think, like, everyone thinks they're probably going to announce Classic TBC in February at BlizzConline. And then like an early summer or midsummer release date. That's kind of like what people are. That's like the rumors and what people are saying. But no, there's actually no official announcement as of yet.
And keeping enemies out of it is delicate and often difficult to do. In the Burning Crusade, however, it's removed since the minimum range for shooting has been drastically reduced, giving them much more freedom than their vanilla counterparts. Traps are now usable in combat, which is huge. It makes for a much more fluid gameplay style, and as a result, you'll be using them far more often compared to your past self in vanilla. With new lands comes new wildlife, and Outland offers a wide variety of new companions waiting to be tamed.
True.
They now receive a percentage of the hunter's armor, attack power.
Yeah, this is a really cool thing. Pets this is for hunters and warlocks, scale off of your stats. So I remember one time, like at the end of TBC, I got an entire, this is on my warlock, I got an entire stam set. I enchanted stam, I gemmed stamina, and I went in and like I had my dungeons tanking, or I had my voidwalker tanking normal dungeons just to see if it could do it. And like, yeah, it was kind of funny. So yeah, the stat scale. I was gonna say, I totally forget. If do hunters have like a best pet, or are all the pets kind of like normalized and kind of the same? I forget if there's like a bis pet for arena and a bis pet, like one unique pet it's just Ravager. Okay.
Stamina, and
right.
so on. To bring up a major weak spot in vanilla of pets not scaling with you as you gear up. Ravagers are highly sought after for PvE DPS. Warp Stalkers have increased mobility with their warp skill, and much more. Plenty of variety and different looks to choose from in the Outland. Can you become the next Pokemon Master? A pet peeve of yours during vanilla may be the fragility of your companion, whether it be from PvE or PvP, as they die quite quickly to incidental AoE damage. You'll be happy to know that one of the many new pet talents is Avoidance, which decreases area of effect damage taken by 50%.
I think warlocks get this also, right? I think warlock demons get this also. I think that's a thing. Wait, I think it's in the talent tree. Wait a minute. 2.4.3 talent tree. I think it is. Warlock. I don't know why I think this. Let me see. It'd be somewhere in demonology. Maybe I'm bugging, dude. Actually, maybe it's not. Whatever, I'm gonna keep playing the video.
They're not immortal, and you still have to keep an eye on them. It's just a passive every pet
overall,
gets. A huge improvement in survivability. For ability roll call, first up we have Steady Shot. Hunter gameplay and rotations in the PvE scene in vanilla can be described as being pretty stagnant. Unlike many other classes, they have no filler spell, and their gameplay boils down to auto-shooting until arcane, aimed, or multi-shot come up, depending on your situation, build, or activity. This changed in the Burning Crusade with the addition of Steady Shot, which has no cooldown, and after a short cast, deals moderate damage to an enemy, more so if dazed. Today, this ability is quite well known because, due to its 20% scaling with ranged attack power, it outpaced nearly every other hunter ability, and top PvE DPS hunters would weave it into this macro along with Kill Command, and use this exclusively as their PvE DPS rotation. Using the
So because of this like weaving macro, hunters, at least in PvE at least, are completely fucking brain dead to play. Like, sincerely, you spam one button. You have a one button rotation because of this macro in TBC. But at the same time, as a hunter, you have the highest single target DPS pretty much in the entire game. So it's like one button, single target, highest DPS. You just fucking own and pump.
Term lightly there.
Easy.
It ended up being a DPS loss to use anything other than this macro, in fact. Of course, excluding your big rapid fire and bestial wrath cooldowns and trinkets. I mentioned Kill Command already, so let's cover that.
Same for
Warlock.
Warlock.
This is an ability that you use to command your pet to deal some damage.
With a Warlock, at least you have to maintain some dots and then spam Shadow Bolt, right? I don't know. Also, like, maybe a lot of people don't know this. I don't know, does anyone play, like, this is something I experimented with on a TBC private server a long time ago. In Tier 4, before you get all of your Tier 4 bis gear, like, before your Tier 4 bis, what I did was I did deep demo and like halfway through Destro, so it was Felguard Destro pretty much. It was like Felguard Ruin, I think, and it was like it was fucking top of the meters before I had all my bis gear. And then once you have your bis gear and you can scale with your stats a bit better, then you swap and you go like Destro Affliction or whatever the normal spec is. But dude, like in early Tier 4, actually like it was like most of Tier 4, demo Destro fucking owned. Are there any like current TBC private server players that know about that more than I do? Like, I'm not sure if that's the case, but that's what I remember being best from when I was testing that stuff
after
out.
A critical strike by the hunter with a short cooldown. Mana was also an issue for hunters in vanilla. I just said that the gameplay for hunters is auto-shooting.
There you go. And then you have to have your one cuck Warlock who's Deep Affliction, right? For what's it called? Malediction or whatever the fuck it is.
Your abilities are on cooldown. But if you were to do that, you'd find yourself out of mana quite quickly. This was addressed in BC with a new aspect of the Viper, which, over time, restores mana, becoming more potent the lower mana you are. And many people are surprised to learn that misdirection was in the game as early as the Burning Crusade.
Yeah.
This causes the threat generated from your next few attacks to stick to a friendly raid.
Yeah, there's a lot of encounters where you like have to use this. For example, like hiking Mulgar. There's a lot of stuff where it like helps a fuck ton to use that.
Party member, which is a huge help. Many classes actually got some sort of ability or passive to help keep their threat down in BC. This is one of them. Overall, threat is still a big deal in BC. I think it was Wrath is when tanks started getting it pretty easily, but BC is still tricky, and hunters bring very high value with misdirect here, and they'll want to use it on cooldown. Your trap repertoire has been expanded with the addition of Snake Trap, which spawns several snakes to attack whoever broke it. They're not really damaging, but they do apply some hindering poisons, such as crippling to slow, mind-numbing for cast speed,
yeah, in TBC it's still 50 gold respec.
Moving into talents here.
The thing is, like, I would say on average, like across the board, each class's gold farming capability or gold farming potential is probably like 2 or 2.5, maybe some classes 3 times your like average gold per hour. So if in classic you're able to farm 75 or 100 gold per hour, like if that's what you can do, you know, in TBC you can maybe expect to farm 250 gold per hour. I'm not even kidding. It's just way easier to farm gold in TBC.
I won't really go over all of them because I want this to be a general overview, but I will cover the new abilities and the major stuff.
Pikachu,
First is Ferocious Inspiration, which gives your party a damage buff after your pet scores a critical hit. This is one of the many little buffs that many specs bring, as you'll see. Blizzard wanted a more even representation of the specs across the board, and they didn't do this just by
Paladin farming. Hey, listen, dude. What would you say the 2 best gold farming classes or specs are in TBC? I would say probably Druid, like Druid and Gathering, just run with Gathering shit, and then also a Prot Paladin, like a super geared Prot Paladin. Super crazy gold per hour. Prot Paladin is fucking insane, dude. There's a reason why I have a Prot Paladin, okay? That is, it's a TBC investment, dude.
Increasing the damage or covering weak spots. They did this by giving various party buffs, so inevitably when some specs would fall behind, there's always a reason to bring them. People describe this as
super random memory. I feel like as SL Warlock, not having thought about this in a long time, it's like since fucking 2007, I think the spec ends up with you having 1 point in Shadow Embrace as like Dispel Protection, right? That's like a total random memory from over a decade ago, right? The SLSL Warlock spec has just 1 point in Shadow Embrace as Dispel Protection, I think.
But moving on, in Beast Mastery, you gain the Beast Within. It
I'm having so many memories
your
proc,
Beast Wrath effect onto the hunter, increasing damage, reducing mana cost, and making you immune to crowd control. Marksmanship hunters gain Silencing Shot. In vanilla, they lacked any sort of way to interrupt casters, excluding Scatter and Intimidation, so this covers up a weak spot, obviously PvP oriented here.
Good.
And Survival Get Readiness, which instantly resets the cooldown of all other hunter abilities, sort of like the Rogue's Preparation. So Rapid Fire, Feign Death, Traps, everything. Survival also gets a crucial supporting debuff called Expose Weakness, which causes your crits to increase the attack power of all raid members by a portion of your agility. And
this
many
is very
raids would
good.
run.
So I also think you have one Cuck Hunter who just pretty much stacks exclusively agility. So you have 3 Pumper Hunters and 1 Cuck Hunter who stack literally gems, enchants, itemizes everything for agility, right? To just boost the fuck out of that.
1 Survival Hunter for this debuff alone.
Yeah.
Overall, hunters are very well represented in the Burning Crusade. You may have heard from many that they're one of the top DPSers. Their Beast Mastery spec shines through in PvE content, making use of that steady shot macro as described earlier.
Hey,
Some
dude.
will say simple,
Bing bong
others boring, but nonetheless
man. Good
very
evening,
powerful. Survival is also important.
It's 1:30 in the morning.
It's not as potent as Beastmaster, but that debuff brings valuable support, and they'll always be wanted for that. And Marksman Hunters will find their niche in PvP due to their high burst damage and added control, although that won't be the only spec that you see in Arena. But overall, the Hunter becomes much more versatile in the Burning Crusade. A lot of that clunkiness was...
Yeah, the whole like Black Temple farm for Prot Paladins, where you're on top of the temple and you farm the Demon Hunter guys. I feel like that spot is so known and so contested. If you're on a PvP server, it's just going to be people griefing you all day. And if you're on a PvE server, it's going to be people trying to bully you out of the spot. I feel like that spot's not even fucking worth it. Like in 2007, when not that many people knew about it, it's like, okay, you know, it is what it is, but dude, fuck. When people think of like TBC Prot Paladin farm, every single person thinks of Black Temple. You know, so it's like, I'm literally not even going to fucking do it.
washed away.
I think it'll be worth
Sometimes
it.
it feels like you have
annoying.
concrete shoes with traps not usable in combat, or the extreme dead zone and pet fragility, and players who wrote them off because of these things may want to give them a second look in the Burning Crusade. Extremely powerful in PvE, very capable in PvP,
Yeah, Skull
Regardless
Farm
of
would
your
be big.
preferences, an appealing choice to be sure.
What are we talking? Which one is next?
War. War never changes. Since the dawn of humankind, when our ancestors first discovered the killing power of rock and bone, blood has been spilled in the name of everything, from God to justice to simple psychotic rage.
Warrior.
War never changes. But Warrior, on the other hand, does quite a bit in the Burning Crusade. They're still the plate-wearing juggernauts you've come to know and love. Sometimes it just feels good to hit things. I feel like a description of the Warrior class is pretty unneeded. They're the most straightforward archetype in any RPG. You wear heavy armor, wield big weapons, and beat people into a pulp until they rage log a level 1 alt to shit-talk you. I guess maybe if you're new to the game though, in World of Warcraft, they operate on the rage system. You generate rage as you hit enemies and get hit by them, and you then use this resource to power your...
The whole, like, ranking ego, people having, like, their ego attached to what rank they got or, like, what bracket they were in Classic WoW is probably the single most cringe video game related ego in the entire world. Like, it probably, I mean, because the thing is, there's literally no skill involved. It's sheer time investment. There is absolutely, genuinely no skill involved. So having an ego over just like being able to know life for 4 months, like playing 18 hours a day for 4 months, and like it's just such a weird thing to like take pride in or like try to ego boost about. I don't know.
Your many melee attacks. What weapons you use and how you use them, however, depends on your specialization. Their arms tree remains to be their PvP tree, with a focus on improving their two-handed capabilities, as well as some debilitating effects for PvP, although they do become valuable in PvE as well, as you'll see. Fury still prefers a dual-wielding playstyle and is the go-to for those who prefer PvE content, and Protection of course bolsters their defense, and although there are up-and-comers in the tanking realm in BC, Protection warriors are often seen to hold the crown of being the best single-target tank with their wide variety of defensive-based cooldown.
I mean, like arena ego is cringe also, but at least there's some skill involved, right? Yeah, at least you have to be good to a certain degree.
For ability roll call, first up we have Victory Rush. Anytime you score a killing blow, you get some free, rageless damage to keep the kill streak
What's up, Wongo?
going. But do note that this is before it healed them in any way. Warrior Mobility sees an overall upgrade with the addition of the Intervene spell, which allows you to charge towards an ally and take the damage and effect of the next hostile action towards them. Mobility-wise, this is crucial for quick escapes or closing the gap if an ally is positioned favorably near an enemy.
It's
And
really
for
good.
the most sharp, if timed correctly, can be used to take critical abilities, such as Kidney Shot to name just one. Warriors who've been bullied relentlessly by coward 2-button frost mages will generate more real-life rage to learn that it's still pretty much the case in BC. But you can at least hit one button now instead of just AFKing to wait for your inevitable demise. And that's Spell Reflect. Only usable with the shield, this will reflect one spell cast on you within the next 5 seconds, with just a 10-second cooldown, which is pretty crazy. It gives them some way to defend themselves against spellcasters of any kind.
Really, I just want to see Swifty prot warrior arena like that. That's probably what I'm most excited for. I want to see Swifty on his fucking prot warrior in arena. That is the #1 most hype thing about TBC.
Our
That's it.
pea-sized
That's all it
brains
is.
are strained with the addition of a new shout.
It's gonna be
Commanding
fucking
Shout gives you
badass,
the option
man.
of increased health, but you must choose this or Battle Shout, not both. Unless you have 2 warriors in the party, of course. Talent-specific abilities include Rampage for Fury, which after scoring a critical hit, allows you to stack attack power for 30 seconds. Arms warriors, on the other hand, don't get a new ability, unless you count Death Wish being moved from the Fury tree, but they do get the important Blood Frenzy talent, which gives your bleeds a raid-wide
Wow.
4% increased physical damage taken by the enemy, so it's never a bad idea to have an arms warrior in raid for this alone. Another important one to mention is mace specialization.
Yeah,
Burning
every raid is
Crusade
gonna
is
want
when
one
warriors
arms
became
warrior.
infamous for their mace stun.
And that's pretty much it. 1 or 2 prot warriors, 1 arms, done. The warrior class stack is done. If you're a warrior in Classic WoW, you should probably reroll because you're fucked going into TBC, and it's a good thing.
This talent received a buff, and it procs
Fuck
all
'em.
the time. And looking up old warrior arena videos in Burning Crusade, usually
Rogue
they'll
also?
be using
Yeah.
mace because it's just stupidly good. and protection warriors get devastated.
That being said, Rogue in Arena is fucking insane. Fucking insane. Dude, I'm telling you, man, like, the meta is going to be Rogue teams. I'm telling you, every Glad team in Classic TBC in every season is going to have a Rogue on it. That is a fucking fact.
State, which deals some damage and stacks us under armor.
Fact.
Tanking in vanilla boils down to Bloodthirst on cooldown, assuming Fury Prod here, and then Revenge when it's up, Heroic Strike for Rage Dump, and either Sunder Armor or Battle Shout as filler. This is a game changer because it's an actual damaging, no cooldown ability that you can use between revenges, making it feel like you're doing more than just holding threat, and it makes tanking feel a little bit less awkward. Combine this with the huge buff to shield slam damage, and also general increased boss damage, the Sword and Board takes the crown back from Fury Prod as the tanking spec in BC. Warriors grow a lot in the Burning Crusade. A lot of what they lack in vanilla seems to get addressed, with the biggest being mobility with Intervene, Spell Reflect to help them against casters, and some serious self-healing through Second Wind, which is going to be a must for any PvPer. Tanking feels really nice with the addition of an actual damaging skill with no cooldown. They do very well in PvE. In PvP, they're still kings due to their burst and the healing debuff from Mortal Strike. That's still.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't think many top arena teams are gonna have warriors on them. Not at this point. Like, back in the day, a couple teams did, like a couple comps, but I just don't see any top comps having warriors. We'll see. I don't know, man. Like, I just really don't think so. I think like here's my thing. Top 3 TBC arena comps for threes. The top 3 comps, okay? Warlock, Druid, Rogue. Warlock, Priest, Rogue, and then RMP. Rogue, Mage, Priest. Those are your top 3. Top 3 most competitive teams in every season.
Unique to them, and tanking they're as good as ever. They're represented well in just about every role that they are intended to fill, and are a very good choice for players who want to strive in both PvP and PvE, DPS or tanking.
Top 10 is going to be 8 RMP. Here's the thing, dude. I've been keeping tabs on like TBC private server arena tournaments, and what you see in these tournaments, like RMP is still there. It does well. But your top 3 teams, top 2 teams, it's always Warlock, Rogue, and then either Druid or Priest. Warlock, Rogue, Druid or Priest. That's what it. That's seriously like that. The last several tournaments I've seen, it's that. It's what it is. Does really well, really well.
The Masters of Arcane, Frost, and Fire.
But your top PvPers aren't there. Wait for the big boys to show up. I don't know. Like, I don't really feel comfortable discrediting. You know how there was like a super try-hard, dedicated vanilla WoW community that played on vanilla WoW server after vanilla WoW server after vanilla WoW server. Everyone said like, oh, wait for the good retail players to come to Classic WoW, and those guys are gonna lose. Like, well. All those players that played private servers for years and years and did this over and over and over again, that's Onslaught, that's Apes, that's Progress, like that. Those guys are the best players in Classic. So I don't know. I don't really feel comfortable discrediting the skill of people that have spent 10 years doing TBC Arena. Like there are people that for 10 years on private servers have just been doing TBC Arena nonstop for 10 years over and over and over and over. There's some very, very good fucking players. But yeah, like, at the same time, like I don't want to discredit the skill of like the top retail players. Like of course when they come in, they're going to do very, very well also. But there's more good players than you would think or than most people are aware of.
Mobility, crowd control, damage, utility, defense, AoE, single target. The Mage seems to adapt to just about any situation before them, and you'll never find someone saying, nah, don't take a Mage, they suck. The spellcaster archetype is as old as the fantasy genre, and in World of Warcraft they have a focus on 3 schools of magic, Fire, Frost, and Arcane, and each have their own unique effects and playstyle. And aside from being heavy damage dealers, they also bring great support to allies through the use of buffs, crowd control effects, conjured food and water, and portals to major cities, and throughout vanilla, due to all of this, they're one of the most prolific classes. Whether you choose to control and freeze your enemies through the PvP-oriented Frost Tree, or nuke through raids through the power of Fire and Arcane, they just always seem to be amazing in any expansion for both PvE and PvP, and the same is true for the Burning Crusade. Spell Steal will take a beneficial magic effect on an enemy and put it on yourself for 2 minutes maximum, no cooldown. This turns mages into super dispellers, and its uses for PvE and PvP are obvious. Steal a Paladin bop, powerful damage buffs, Druid heals, enemy mage absorbs. It's insane.
It's pretty
They
fucking
also
wild.
get the invisibility spell. It works as a pseudo-stealth. It removes you from combat and makes you invisible to enemies, and you can only see other invisible mages. This is one of the many threat drops added to the game that I mentioned earlier. Vending machine.
There are so many things that I forget. Like, dude, I almost want to play like Arena on a TBC private server before TBC comes out, just to like remember things and see like what works. Like, for example, does Warlock detect invisible mages? Like, I think so, but it's one of those things. Like, I just fucking forget. Like, I just straight up fucking forget, man. It was so long ago.
Will rejoice to learn that the Burning Crusade is when they get the refreshment table. That's right, no more handing out food and water one by one to a full raid. Simply have 2 other players there to help you summon the table, and they can take what they want.
Human male mage.
Molten Armor is a new buff that increases your crit, reduces your chance to be crit, and deals some damage to attackers. You of course have to choose between this and your other armor spells. Those who love the arcane fantasy of mages have their time to shine in the Burning Crusade with the new Arcane Blast spell. Although the arcane tree does see much use in Vanilla Classic, it's used more as a support for fire and frost abilities really, and Arcane Missiles, the intended damage spell for the tree, hardly sees any use at all. Arcane Blast, on the other hand, is very powerful. Each time you use it, it has a reduced cast time, but increased mana cost, so it's a mana hog, and you have to be careful not to...
The Warlock preparation sequence in TBC Arena is pure cancer. Yep, it's annoying as fuck. It's annoying as fuck. So if you're a Warlock, you enter an arena match. You make a Hellstone for your partner, you trade it. You make a Hellstone for your other partner, you trade it. Make a Hellstone for yourself, you keep it. You detect Invis and Unending Breath, your partner, your other partner, and yourself. And then as the match is counting down, you summon a Voidwalker. You sacrifice, you summon a Fell Hunter, and you go and you go. It's, yeah, and you have to do that every single match. It's pretty fucking annoying. It's pretty fucking annoying.
To go too overboard. Ice Lance makes its debut in BC, dealing very minimal damage baseline, but increased threefold against frozen targets. This combined with Shatter.
You have to farm shards. I mean, that's another thing. I'm like 99% sure that you don't have to use shards in TBC Arena. I don't think anything costs shards in Arena, right?
It gives incredible burst, and with its 30...
Imp Fire Shield too? Wait, what? You have to use soul shards in Arena? There's no way. There's no way. Well... No, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way that it does. Like, I'm almost like, I'm like 99.999% sure that it does. What the fuck? There's no way. Let's see. Maybe he'll talk about it when we get there, okay?
Let's range see. Replaces Cone of Cold in that Shatter combo.
Not during prep,
vanilla,
yeah.
Frost mages are incredibly bursty, but a downside is that they must stay stationary to get that damage, or expose themselves with Cone of Cold. Having a 30-yard range instant cast spell gives more mobility to a class that already excels in kiting, which is particularly deadly even more so when you consider the Water Elemental. This can be obtained at the end of the Frost Tree. It's a pet that'll not only attack your target, but also give you a ranged Frost Nova on a 25-second cooldown. So combine all of this with Spell Steal, Invisibility, Ice Lance, and High Burst. Frost mages grow even stronger than they once were in Vanilla Classic, which is hard to believe and pisses me off because I'm a warrior. Icy Veins is a DPS cooldown.
You can go back and watch, like, rank 1 Glad footage from people back in TBC, and they play like complete fucking dog shit. Maybe we'll do it after this video. Remind me later. We can watch arena footage from 2007, 2008. Dude, even Gladiators back then played like complete fucking trash. So bad.
For Frost Mages, only added
so
bad. 2.3, granting casting speed and preventing pushback for 20 seconds. So another ability that may or may not be in the game at release, depending on how they do TBC Classic. Arcane Mages find the slow talent in their tree, which works in 3 parts. Reduced movement speed, casting speed, and increases the time between attacks by 50% with no cooldown. Fire Mages get a bit more control with Dragon's Breath. As you may know, this is the glass cannon spec in vanilla. Full on damage, but if people catch you, you're pretty much a goner. This deals some damage and disorients enemies in a cone area to give you a bit more CC to a spec that's starved of CC. Overall, the Mage just categorically improves in just about every aspect in both PvE and PvP.
Give them a break. They didn't know what keybuttons were and they were clicking their best. A lot of people don't have full season's resilience gear and use horrible comps. I mean, yeah, so first off, people, like, you guys know I got Glad in Season 2 on my Mage. I played on a computer with at most 15 FPS. It was a laptop. I clicked my abilities, and like I was 12. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. Like I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. We played RMP. So just like by nature of being super early in TBC Reno Season 2, by being a good comp, and my partners were definitely better than I was. Like it was just like let me show you something. Okay, let me show you a video I was watching earlier today. History, let me find this. Yeah, okay. I was watching arena footage of an SLSL Warlock earlier today, and just like watch for a second. Just watch. There's just like, you know, I don't want to watch the entire fucking thing, but it's like, you go through this, there's just like a lot of backpedaling and like the pet being AFK doing nothing, and like it's just like genuinely like bad gameplay. And it's not just him, it's like all like everyone involved is just playing bad, pretty much. Really is just what it comes down to. Let me just skip around. Like this guy's a Felguard. Just like bad specs. Like it's just like all over the place. So yeah, it was not particularly hard to get Glad back then. If you were just decent and had a decent comp.
PvP. PvP in particular, with some added danger and utility with spell steal, and more damage on the move with Ice Lance, control with the Water Elemental, and slipperiness with invisibility. Fire and Arcane are the PvE specs, with Arcane taking over when they get their Tier 5 bonus, and Frost, as explained, is unmatched for PvP. It's still pretty clear-cut what specializations you'll follow for certain activities, and there's not a lot of crossover on either side. Regardless, the Mage is still as strong as ever, and you really can't go wrong in PvE or PvP.
Priest. The highest skill cap PvP healer.
The power of Christ compels you. To like this video if you're enjoying it so far.
I am.
The first healer on our list,
Good point.
of course, has to be the Priest. Instead of weaving spells of Frost, Fire, and Arcane to tear apart enemies, they hold a wide variety of holy spells to replenish allies. They're not left defenseless though, and have a selection of offensive holy and shadow spells to protect themselves. They have the reputation of having the most diverse toolkit out of any healer. Absorbs, heals over time, group heals, quick heals, big heals, and powerful buffs makes them adapt to just about any situation. And let's not forget those who dabble in the dark side and weave spells of shadow instead of healing. A mixture of damage over time effects, debuffs, and bursty damage spells makes them quite dangerous in PvE and PvP, all the while still being able...
I'm trying to think, like, did Shadow Priest have a niche at all in Arena and PvP? Like, no. I can't think of a single good Shadow Priest comp. S-Priest Rogue? S-Priest Rogue, okay, maybe. I guess I like tend to not really think of twos. Is that, like, that's it? S-Priest Rogue? Shadow, Affliction, Druid? Really? Huh, okay, huh.
to pop out and throw out some heals in a pinch. Just about the only thing that a mage can't do. Holy is your straight healing specialization, which sole purpose is to increase raw healing throughput and mana returns. Discipline is more of a supportive tree.
Anything rogue? I don't know, like, you know, we talked about how dominant, like, Warlock, Rogue, Druid is. You could kind of have, like, a scuffed version of that with, like, it would be S-Priest, Rogue, Druid, right?
Housing many crucial buffs and improving the priest's defense,
It'd
making
be,
them
like,
more
slightly
appealing
worse,
in the realm
probably,
of
but
PvP.
still decent.
And Shadow, as described, forsakes light for Shadow, and its wielders have an extensive collection of Linkin Park albums. Mass Dispel is the first new ability on our list, removing one beneficial magic effect from enemies and one harmful magic effect on
Dude,
allies
I'm really excited.
within a
I'm
large
so fucking
radius,
excited, man.
even being strong enough to pop immunities such as Paladin Bubbles or Mage Ice Blocks. Fear Ward, formerly exclusive to dwarves, is now baseline for every priest of both factions. Of course, making the target immune to the next fear spell, this was seen to be too important to be restricted to just one race, so I guess screw you to all of the dwarves out there. Prayer of Mending is a buff that you apply to a target, and upon that target taking damage, they're instantly...
Let me ask you this, okay? Let me ask you guys this. Who wins? A perfectly played RMP, Rogue Mage Priest, or a perfectly played Warlock Rogue Druid? Who wins? Who do you think? It's tough, dude. You guys think RMP? I don't know, man. I don't know, dude.
healed,
I don't know,
and the spell
dude.
bounces to another raid member at random, up to a maximum
It's a
of
very
5
good
times.
matchup.
Binding Heal is a low threat flash heal for yourself and your target, having quite a high mana cost. And Shadow Fiend makes its debut.
You wish it was WRD. Well, here's the thing, dude. Here's the trick to the question. I play Beyond perfectly, so it doesn't even apply to me. It doesn't even matter.
When used,
Beyond
you summon a
perfect.
Shadow Fiend to attack your target,
Not even
and
worried.
it restores mana to the priest with each hit. They also receive the powerful Shadow Word Death, which is their execute. It's instant heavy shadow damage, only usable on targets below 20% health. Pain Suppression is a talent that's found in the Discipline tree, reducing damage taken by the target, and also increasing dispel resistance. And an important passive they have is their improved Divine Spirit talent, which gives some extra spell power based on the target's spirit stat. Most raids will run one Discipline Priest for that alone. And we have Circle of Healing, which is exclusive to Holy Priests, and it's an instant cast heal.
Well, super
to a
powerful
target
disc
and
thing
all
is
nearby
called
party
what's it called?
members,
Pain
which is
suppression.
spammable,
Pain
but
suppression
you
is
load
super
into
valuable in
mana
a lot of
issues.
situations.
Lastly, Vampiric Touch is
Am I gonna play Warlock or Paladin? So I'm gonna have a Prot Paladin that I will probably do a lot of gold farming on, and I'll probably tank Karazhan each week on my Prot Paladin. I don't think I'm gonna play much Holy. I might play Holy in 5s, maybe, but it'll be Prot Paladin, gold farming, like insane Prot Paladin, crazy pull. Like, dude, Prot Paladins are fucking crazy farmers. Just insanity. It's fucking crazy. So probably taking Karazhan and then gold farming, and then maybe Holy in 5s. And then my Warlock will be my primary raiding character. 25-man raids, Karazhan. And then also 2v2 and 3v3 arena, I think. I'm really fucking excited for arena on my Warlock, man.
exclusive
Really
to Shadow
fucking
Priests.
excited.
It's a new damage over time that also debuffs the target, giving mana regeneration to the priest and all party members based on shadow damage. It's extremely important, and along with their Shadow Weaving debuff, which causes your target to take 10% increased shadow damage if 5 stacks, and Misery, which is 5% for all spells, Shadow Priests become crucial in every raid tier in the Burning Crusade.
Yeah,
due to the
Warlock
added
is good at
support.
everything.
If you've ever heard the term mana battery before,
Yeah, like if you had to pick like the number one class of TBC, so what would you pick as the number one class of Classic WoW? The number one Classic WoW class. You'd probably say Warrior. Like you would say Warrior, right? In TBC, like you'd probably say Warlock. Like in insane DPS. Absolutely insane DPS. And insane dominance in arena also. Super fucking good in arena. Yeah, Mage special mention, right, for Red Paladin, okay. Mage special mention for vanilla as well.
it's probably referring to
Sure.
Shadow Priests. They're as strong as ever, with Holy being the main PvE healing spec, whereas Discipline brings that support, and outside of that favors PvP-oriented players due to its defensive capabilities. Shadow, as described, is great in PvE due to its support, still dealing decent damage. In PvP, it's kind of hit or miss. You still don't have dispersion, nor any movement increases, which leaves you very vulnerable if you...
Dude, it almost makes me want to have 2 Warlocks. Like one Warlock where I play more serious comps and kind of care a little bit more, and then one Warlock where I just kind of do meme comps with like whoever the fuck I want. Like, oh, you want to do 2s with a Shadow Priest for the day? Alright, fuck it, let's do it. Oh, you want to do 3s with a fucking Ret Paladin and a Hunter for the day? Yeah, sure, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, kind of like a fun, like, meme arena character and like a serious arena character.
get trained. They're dependent on good peelers
Yeah,
such as
you have to make
mages
teams.
or rogues.
And making teams
On
costs
the
gold,
flip
remember
side,
that?
they do mount faces, and their silence is untrinketable in BC.
You have to pay to
5
make an
seconds
arena
of
team.
guaranteed no heals with the 45-second cooldown is insane. Also, silence isn't on the
Battle
DR
groups.
until
I
Wrath,
have no
which is
fucking
even more
idea, man.
broken.
I'm
So
really
they have
curious
potential.
myself.
You just need to support them. So, the Priest. PvE, PvP, DPS, and healing. They have a lot of tools, and are generally in high demand, no matter your preference.
Yeah, you gotta pay to make them. And 5's teams cost the most to make. 2's are cheaper to make. It's fucking wild, dude.
The Warlock.
Warlock,
Our
man.
third caster on the list, the Warlock has gained the reputation of being extremely powerful in the Burning Crusade in particular. Whereas the Shadow Priest merely adopted the darkness, the Warlock was shaped by it, molded by it even. Most every spell in the repertoire is of the Shadow Magic school, and their use is vary wildly. Whether it's
Where are the gnome
straightforward
warlocks?
damage from the
Hello?
hard cast Shadow Bolt, your extensive arsenal of damage over time effects,
Where are the gnomes?
debilitating curses, a wide variety of demons at their command, or even supportive spells such as Healthstone to heal allies, or Soulstone to revive them, or the ritual of summoning for transportation.
We have a
The
human
Warlock
male.
is a great combination of support and
This
damage.
set looks so fucking good,
Their
man.
affliction
That's
tree
me, season
focuses
1.
on improving their curses and debilitating effects, with more of a focus on damage over time spells
Streamer.
to give their enemies a slow but steady death.
Is bald.
Demonology, as the name suggests, improves the various demons that you have at your disposal, and destruction forgoes utility and defense for all-out damage. One of the many glass cannon specializations in the game, and they could really dish it out. Not only do they retain that great utility, but they're nuking machines in PvE and juggernauts in PvP. And you'll see Druid / Warlock in 2s so much that you'll want to farm it all
yeah,
over your
dude.
keyboard. New spells are Seed of Corruption, which deals some damage over time to a target, and explodes for AoE damage.
Listen. I'm going to be very clear about this, okay? If you're a good Resto Druid, or a good Rogue, I need a good Rogue too. If you are a good Resto Druid, or a good Rogue, I'm looking for partners, okay? We're going all the way. I'll pay for your transfer. I don't give a fuck. I will also host you every single day. If you're good. If you are good. If you're good. You have to be really good, okay? You have to be able to carry me. That's pretty much what I'm saying. If you're good, I will host you on Twitch every single day. I'll also pay for your transfer. Easy. There it is. We're getting glad. No problem. 4-time glad. Easy. Rank 1, maybe even. That's all it is. DM me. Slide on in. It's open.
After
It is
that
what it
target
is.
takes a certain amount of damage.
Alliance.
So a really
Alliance.
strong AoE spell here. They also get a new armor called Fell Armor. It's changed all over the place over the years.
Cyclone
but in
for me,
BC,
baby.
It increases healing by 20% and increases your spell power. Similar to the Mage table, the Warlocks get the Soul Well.
You have to
which,
be
if you have
good.
2 people help you summon.
'Cause I'm bad. You
drops
gotta
a
carry.
clickable Soul Well that'll dispense health stones. So no more trading stones out one at a time. Another threat drop is Soul Shatter. One of the issues you may have run into in vanilla was that she had the
Nice.
potential for high damage, but due to threat, sometimes you just had to slow down. Soul Shatter is a 5-minute cooldown spell that drops 50% of your aggro
This is
to
huge.
all enemies within 50 yards.
Soul Shatter is huge.
Incinerate is a new damage spell, dealing some moderate damage baseline, and some bonus to targets affected by your Immolate dot. And for talents, we have Unstable Affliction for the Affliction tree. This is another dot that deals some moderate damage, and more importantly, some heavy damage and a 5-second silence if it's dispelled. So this gives you some great dispel protection. You load up your target with dots, and then throw this on top of it to protect them. They also get a few key passives for raid support, such as Shadow Embrace, which causes your dots to reduce physical damage done by the target by 5%, and Malediction, which improves your Curse of Elements. Demonology Warlocks get a new demon called the Felguard. This is quite a powerful demon, having the ability to cleave and intercept stun.
It's
in
just
addition to
a
its high
super
damage.
fun demon also.
And Destruction Warlocks pick up Shadow Fury, which is an AoE that deals some light damage and stuns all enemies within the reticle for 2 seconds. Affliction is very powerful early on in PvE, not just due to damage, but also those debuffs. They later get overtaken by Destruction though. Due to its fragility, it's mainly a PvE spec, but top tier damage requires top tier gameplay. Get those fingers ready, because your job is to use Curse of Elements and then Shadow Bolt. So they
Okay,
have the BM
dude.
Hunter syndrome. High damage, but an incredibly simple
Okay.
playstyle. But hey, this is still mid-2000s MMO design. What'd you
Listen,
expect?
man.
Demonology has its
He's just
uses.
mad that
The
Warriors
unique thing
suck
with
fucking
Warlocks
dick
is
in
that they tank certain
TBC.
fights
It
in the
is what it
expansion,
is.
But overall, Demonology went down as being a PvP spec paired with
Can you expect a warrior player to understand the nuance and intricacy of a warlock rotation? Of course not. It's like if you take someone stupid and show them Einstein's theoretical gravity or whatever the fuck calculations, they'd say, oh yeah, it's just E equals MC squared, it's just a bunch of numbers and letters. Who cares? It's easy. But a true genius mathematician looks at it and he sees, he has an epiphany, okay? It's beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing, magnificent thing in the entire world to see something as intricate as that, okay? So that's what we're talking about. So the non-intellectual can't even fathom what's inside of the brain of the true intellectual. And that really is exactly what playing a warlock is like. Some people say, Buida.
You're my little pog champ.
Listen, Buida, some people say that when Beethoven was writing his 7th symphony, he actually, in his brain, was in music form, composing in music form the rotation of a warlock. He said, if a warlock's rotation was music, what would it sound like? And then he wrote, and he composed, and it was magnificent.
Affliction.
That's actually true.
You may have heard the term SL/SL Warlocks. This is referring to a talent build that gives you Siphon Life and Soul Link, a combination of steady damage.
Here's the thing, dude. Here's the thing, man. Okay?
This is referring.
See this here? SLSL. Haters gonna be hating. I don't give a fuck. That shit's hate. They mad. They mad. I don't give a fuck. Fuck them, dude. You mad?
To a talent build that gives you Siphon Life and Soul Link. A combination of steady damage, insane tankiness, and high self-healing makes them very dangerous in PvP. Regardless, you can bet money that they'll be one of the most prolific classes in Arena and BC Classic. Just about as much as the Druid.
Shit. Paging a good Druid. I need a good Druid. Here we go. DM me.
And Master of None. The first class on our list that's capable of DPS, tanking, and healing is the Druid. The Masters of Nature, they have the ability to shapeshift into different animal forms to suit their needs. They borrow a little bit from every class.
6 months. Hey,
Their
thank you, man.
form, which is Bear, operates on the Warrior's Rage system. Their Cat form, which is for DPS, operates on the Energy and Combo Point system, which you'll see soon in the Rogue section. And aside from this, they hold a variety of crucial supportive buffs and abilities, such as Innervate for mana regeneration, or Critical Strike to party members. They're still the only class with the ability to resurrect teammates in the midst of combat, and their healing style is unique because it's focused primarily on heal over time effects. The Feral Tree is dual purpose, holding talents that increase both their tanking and DPS capabilities. A benefit from this is that they can switch between both on the fly. Restoration holds a variety of buffs to make you a more powerful healer, and Balance, on the other hand, is a spellcaster tree, providing boons to arcane and nature damaging spells, even holding its own animal form to improve them further. In vanilla, they were seen to be one of the weakest classes overall. In a community who's obsessed with min-maxing, a class that can do everything but isn't the best at it made them into one of the least represented classes in the game. However, this changes in the Burning Crusade.
You know, interestingly enough, I think in Classic WoW, it's Druids and Warlocks, which are the two least played classes. I wonder if Ironforge.pro has any... Wait, hold up. Can we tell? Ironforge Pro. Doesn't it have like some stats on this? Demographics. Maybe not actually. Which website shows that? I'm pretty sure it's Druids and Warlocks, which are incidentally like the two best classes in TBC for Arena. That is, like, it makes me wonder. Do you guys really think TBC Arena is going to be super saturated with Warlocks? That would mean like a fuck ton of people would have to reroll and level up Warlocks and level them all the way up. Like, do you really think that many people are gonna, like, you know, reroll for it? Maybe, yeah, maybe.
As they become unrivaled in very important aspects.
Click on the server.
In the realm of tanking, DPS, or healing, PvE or PvP.
Let me see. Let me see here, bro. Let me see here, bro. Where is it? Yeah, look at this. Look at that. Warlock and Druid. The two least played classes on Alliance. Horde, it's a bit different because Warlocks are cringe and Undead is cringe and they double up on it, but yeah. Yep. man, it's gonna be hard to find a druid. It's gonna be fucking hard to find a druid. Like, here's the thing, Kathy actually fucking owns. Like, Kathy is so good. I'm not even dick riding. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with dick riding your own wife. But I'm not just saying this because we're married, okay? Kathy actually fucking owns. I would love to do arena with Kathy. She's gonna be taking care of the baby though. You know, it might be hard to like sit down and do arena all the time because she might have to just like go and take care of the baby. But I'm not even kidding. Like, if Kathy and I queue arena, like we're dude, it's gonna be fucking awesome. It'd be fucking awesome, man. We would just have to find a rogue. So really, like, I maybe like halfway need a druid. I really need a good rogue. I really need a good rogue. If there are any good rogues that want to push raiding in classic TBC in 3s, hit me up. It's go time, baby. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be badass.
One of the reasons for this, at least for healing, is that it was the Burning Crusade, is when multiple classes could have heals over time on a target. This is true for any class with HOTS, but I felt it most appropriate to mention in the Druid category because, after all, that's their whole niche. They're the heal over time class. So removing this restriction alone was huge for all classes, the Druid even more so. They have a new heal over time called Life Bloom, which also heals instantly at the end of its duration, or if it's dispelled, giving them some more power in PvP, and it's stackable 3 times to increase its potency. The reason why druids become gods in PvP can be summed down to one spell, and that's Cyclone.
Good luck finding a non-undead rogue. I mean, probably what you do is you try to find a human rogue, right? And then they pop Perception and bust the other rogue. Like what race alliance rogue do you want? It's gnome, it's human, or it's night elf. You probably want a human to pop stealthies out.
Since its implementation, the spell has become iconic of the
That's
PvP
probably
druid, and for good reason. This is a 1.5 second cast spell.
My thing is, I think as an SLSO Warlock, my thing is, I just barrel in. No fucks given. I dive in and I get in combat ASAP. I have like 20 seconds of Voidwalker shield in my opener, so I just dive the fuck in, get in combat, dot the fuck out of everything, and I try to do as much as I can with my Voidwalker shield up, and then I pull back when the shield's dropped, and I play the LOS game, but once I'm in combat. But I really don't want to get stealthed up on, pretty much is the thing.
That incapacitates a target for 6 seconds,
Yes, all it is.
making them immune to everything. They can't move, they can't cast, can't take damage, can't take healing. It has no cooldown and can be chained with a total duration of around 10 seconds before DR kicks in,
Yep.
and they'll go immune for 15 seconds. Along with their roots, this makes druids the kings of control, and they're represented very well in Arena because of that. Lacerate is a new skill, only usable in bear form, and it puts a bleed on your target, stacking up to 5 times. The Feral Druid is an up-and-coming tank in BC, which we'll discuss later. This is one of the reasons why. They also get 2 versions of Flight Form, one trainable and the other awarded after an iconic quest chain. And lastly, for baseline spells, we have Maim for cat form, which is basically a weaker version of Kidney Shot. It disorients the target for a longer duration the more combo points you use. It deals a bit of damage, but also breaks on damage, so it's not as powerful as a stun, but it still gives you control and sets you up for a shred. Balanced druids only get Force of Nature, which summons 3 treants to attack a target for a short period of time.
I
The
love
issue
this
with
ability.
balanced druids in classic vanilla is
I love that
mana.
ability.
In fact, you may have heard the term Umkin before. They burn through it incredibly quickly, and this is addressed with the Dream State talent, which increases mana regeneration based on intellect. And they bring some good utility
still
with
is a
their improved
problem.
Fairy Fire, which increases the chance that the target will be hit by both physical.
So I don't know if you guys know this. Part of the raiding meta in TBC is still spamming dark runes from classic, like dark or demonic runes in classic. It's still part of the rotation. So, one of the best gold farms is to go and farm. What is it? Which one's BOE? Dark runes, right? Dark runes are BOE, demonic runes are BOP, I think, or vice versa, whichever one. Anyway, go farm them, sell them. Yeah, exactly.
And spells by 3%.
And who can farm Scalo? Who farms Scalo? Prot Paladins. One of the best gold farms in TBC is going to Scalo and AoE mass fucking Prot Paladin Scalo farming.
Feral Druids get Mangle, both for bear and
Easy.
cat form. The bear form deals damage and costs rage, and the cat form costs energy and awards a combo point, and both increase the damage that your target takes from your shred and your bleeds by 30%. Bear form has a 6-second cooldown, whereas cat form has no cooldown. Restoration druids gain Tree of Life, which does several things. It increases healing taken for all party members by 25% of your spirit, but also slows you by 20%, and you can only use the following spells. The mana cost of these spells are also reduced by 20%. And note that this heal isn't tied to just your heals, it's all healing, which makes them extremely important. So balance, due to their increased mana regeneration and damage, is made to be more competitive with other classes. You won't be topping the meters, but they do hold their own, and
pretty much you bring a Boomkin and you put him in the group with the four Warlocks. That's what it is. 4 Warlocks, Boomkin, Plowtown. Well, no, sorry. Actually, here's what you do. It's 3 Warlocks, it's the Elemental Shaman, and the Boomkin. That is Plowtown. That's Plowtown.
Raids will often bring a balanced druid for their support alone. Feral Druid DPS is tricky because it's completely dependent on the player. It has a complex rotation, implementing power shifting and using niche items such as this level 40 helmet that you get in vanilla. Great Feral Druids can do impressive things, but it requires about 10 times more effort than your average DPS class, and those looking for a high skill cap will get it. Feral tanking as a
I still think Druid in both Classic and TBC is probably the highest skill cap class. Like if there's a really, really good Druid, it's really impressive to me. Druids are a very, very high skill cap class. They're so clunky to play, in my opinion, and it's just hard. It's just hard and annoying. And
Crusade. I mean, they can still do fine in Classic for certain fights, but they're much more commonplace in BC, just like all these other specs. They have good single target threat, and when they're not tanking, they can switch out and deal some damage. For example, you have some 3 tank boss fights. Well, if you bring 3 tank spec characters only, it's a wasted slot for the other 2 tank boss fights, unless one of those tanks is feral. And Restoration is great as well, due to that Tree of Life buff and the remove restriction on HOTS. On fights that require movement, heals over time will always shine, and Restoration Druids do well in the Burning Crusade. So overall, the Druid will 100% be the class that sees the biggest increase going from vanilla to BC. One of the least played classes to one of the most played classes surely, as the Jack of all trades, Master of none design turned into a Jack of all trades, pretty damn good at all.
Rogue. Here, I can give you a TLDR. Dog shit in PvE until tier 6, and killer in arena.
Sometimes subtlety is the answer. The next class on our list is the Rogue. Another melee class, they hold a bit more decorum than the aforementioned warrior. One of 2 classes with stealth, and they have the advantage of picking their fights, and combined with a wide arsenal of devastating bursty attacks and cooldowns, they can take people out before they even have time to react. Like the Feral Druid, they operate on the energy system, which generates over time, and also the combo point system. Some abilities generate combo points up to a maximum of 5, and other more powerful abilities called finishers consume these combo points for high damage or powerful buffs.
Man, I'll see what he says.
They're a dual-wielding class, preferring daggers or maces or swords, coating them with several different poisons that damage and cripple those on the receiving end. They're a very calculated class. Control would be the best word to describe them, and they're just as deadly as their vanilla counterparts. Some would say even more so, in fact. Assassination is a tree that focuses on improving your poisons and burst damage, and highlights the use of daggers, whereas combat is more of a swashbuckling, in-your-face raw damage style. Not as subtle as the other specializations, but it gets the job done. And lastly, subtlety improves your stealth capabilities and gives even more control to a class that's already the master of control. Deadly Throw is a new combo point spender, dealing some light damage at range, and also slowing the target by 50% for 6 seconds. Additionally, we have Envenom, which is another finisher that consumes doses of deadly poison equal to the number of combo points on your target, applying instant poison and dealing some heavy damage. Anesthetic Poison is new.
Dude, I remember the Rogue on my 3's team when I was playing my Mage. God, what the fuck was that guy's name? He was like a couple years older than me. Dude, it was like Zephias or some shit like that. What was this guy's fucking name? Of course, it started with a Z, because Rogue players back in 2008, every Rogue player started with a fucking Z in their name. Anyway, this guy, every single day, literally every single day, not a day went by, this guy didn't have a 15-minute tangent about not having AoE. He's like, these goddamn fucking Warlocks and These goddamn fucking mages. I'm sick of their goddamn AoE. I don't have any fucking AoE. This is fucking bullshit, man. Dude, this guy was fucking mad. Like, every single day this guy bitched about it. Aladar! Hey, thank you. Thank you, man. It's been a good day. It's been a great day. It's been a good day. If anyone new is tuning in today, and you don't know what the big announcement is, Kathy and I went to the doctor today. We had an ultrasound. Kathy's 20 weeks pregnant. We found out the gender of our baby. She's 20 weeks pregnant. It's a girl. We're having a girl. The baby's doing great. Which class? I'll tell you, I told Kathy, listen, Kathy, if this baby comes out half orc, I'm going to be very, very mad. I'll be very, very mad.
Pogu Staysafe at Staysafe TV Pogu.
Pogu. Hey, Mirror Knight, I appreciate it, man. Thank you, dude.
It's basically
no half orc
version of
babies.
Instant poison that causes no threat. Shiv is an offhand attack that instantly applies poison that's attached to your offhand weapon. A nice way of reducing the RNG from vanilla of poisons just refusing to proc sometimes. And lastly for baseline is the Cloak of Shadows, which has a 90% chance to remove and make you immune to all spell effects for 5 seconds at a 1 minute cooldown, making them even more dangerous to casters. Assassination rogues get Mutilate, which deals damage with both weapons, awarding 2 combo points and with a damage buff to poison targets. And Subtlety gets Shadow Step, which upon use teleports you behind your enemy.
Danger!
Gives you movement speed, increased damage, and reduced threat at a 30-second cooldown. Note that in its BC debut, this is only usable against enemies. Combat remains to be their go-to for PvE, and they do well, competing for top DPS in the later tiers. Especially when they get glaives, of course, but you might have to be a streamer for that one. You may have heard back in the day that certain boss fights required
just
glaive
be a streamer.
Changed a lot since classic launch. Keep on pumping.
That is true.
To vanilla, Subtlety is the
I mean, dude, hey, I met Kathy playing Classic. Classic's been crazy. You're right, though.
Main PvP spec.
I love it.
Calculated use of cooldowns. It's just now you have Shadow Step on top of it all, which makes it the clear frontrunner for PvP. Many people say that they're the best in PvP, in fact. Again, I don't like using that word too much, but I still wouldn't disagree with it. Search any BC Arena tier list, and you'll find Subtlety in the S or 8.
Like I said, I'm telling, like, hard bet, okay? Hard bet. Literal hard bet. Every single Gladiator team, seasons 1 through 4, this is a fucking male troll. It just tripped me up. Every single Glad team is going to have a rogue. That's what I'm trying to say. Every single one, okay? Rogues are that fucking good in Arena. They're insane.
Assassination is sort of middle ground.
They're insane.
You can run it for PvE and PvP, and it competes. But initially run into
why is it fucking male troll
behind your target in BC, which gives them a strict positional requirement. In an expansion that's already unfriendly to melee, this certainly doesn't help, but it does have its place, just like all of these specializations. Overall, the rogue will be a very popular choice in Burning Crusade, as it is in vanilla. One of the deadliest.
Okay, maybe not in 2s actually.
Control, and
I'm talking 3s.
Many teams, and still competing for the top in PvE, at least in later tiers. They'll be very prolific throughout the expansion.
All right, here we go. Here we go. The one we've all been waiting for.
Put your faith in the light. The
Here we go.
Paladin is the cousin of the warrior. Primarily a melee class, this heavily armored crusader employs the aid of holy magic to heal allies, exorcise foes, and bolster themselves. They're a support-heavy class, providing a wide variety of buffs called blessings that provide crucial aid to allies, whether it be attack power, mana regeneration, threat reduction, protection spells. In addition to this, they also hold many different auras that are party-wide and changeable on the fly to match whatever situation that they're in. They also operate on the unique seal system. These provide unique augments to the Paladin's attacks, and upon using the Judgment spell, are consumed for other unique effects. For example, this one returns mana when the Paladin swings, and if you judge it, it copies that effect to everyone who hits that target. And the same is also true with the Seal of Light counterpart. They're the only class, other than the Druid, that are capable of all 3 combat roles. The Holy Tree improves the Paladin's healing capability, whereas the Retribution specialization focuses more on offense with buffs and abilities to dish out some divine justice. And protection, as you would imagine.
What is the best Ret Paladin arena comp? What do you play? If you're a Red Paladin, you're trying to get Glad, What do you do? Ret, Hunter, Priest? Respec Holy? Yeah, probably. Respec Holy and play 5s? Yeah, that's actually probably it. Arms Warrior, Ret, Holy Paladin. Enhancement, Ret, Arms. Delete your character. I don't know. You know what I found the other day? Let me see if I can pull this up. I think I might have bookmarked it. History. Wait, bookmarks. Give me 1 second, guys. Bookmarks manager. Oh, yeah, I found it. Okay. Look what I found earlier today. This is a web archive of some Arena Junkies guides from 2007. Is this shit 2008, sorry. Is this shit gonna load? So there are strategy guides written in 2008 on Arena Junkies for a ton of different comps for 2s and 3s. So the only Ret comp here is Mage Ret. Alright, what is Mage Ret? What is Mage Ret? Let me load this shit. Okay. So the top, interesting. It actually says the top teams that played this comp. This comp was played to 2,200, and their win rate was 226, 132. That's a lot of fucking games played, dude. That's a lot of fucking games played at 2,200. Jesus Christ. The Mage must be Deep Frost. The defensive utility from Frost is very important to the team. Improved counter spell is a vital part of this team. Lol, the only good spec for Retribution Paladin is 0-21, 0-20-41. All the other specs are crap. Druid isn't hard to beat, but all the Warlocks are fucking insane. But all Warlocks are fucking insane. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's fucking true. Yeah.
Is the tanking
yeah,
tree, providing a
yeah.
wide variety of defensive buffs and threat generation improvements. This has been the design since the game's inception in vanilla, but many players have been disappointed to learn that it's primarily the Holy Paladin that was in demand. Protection Paladins, unfortunately, suffer from mana issues and lack of a taunt that stops them from shining in the tank role, and Retribution, simply a lack of damage. Luckily for you though, like all of these other classes, these weaknesses have been addressed, and you have some options. The first being their taunt, which is Righteous Defense. You use this on a player, and up to 3 enemies attacking that target will attack you instead. So it's kind of a roundabout way of doing it.
I don't think you even have a single taunt. You only have a triple taunt, which can cause problems also, right? If you're trying to taunt like one trash mob off of your warrior main tank or something, you're just getting 3 of them. You're just getting 3.
But it is what it is, which covers up a huge hole in their toolkit from vanilla. Crusader Aura is a party-wide 20% mount speed buff, making paladins the fastest flyers in the Outland. And Avenging Wrath, now an iconic spell for the class, also makes its debut in the Burning Crusade. In this iteration, it's a straight 30% damage buff, and the downside is that it causes Forbearance, which makes it so you can't bubble yourself for a minute.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It's also a magic effect, which makes it susceptible to dissipate.
Wings causes Forbearance. I totally forgot about that. Oh my god, what a fucking meme. That's so dog shit. That sucks. Imagine you just get fucking spell stolen also. Imagine pop wing, spell steal, minute on Forbearance. Alright. Just gonna fucking AFK out of this now.
Spell steal. And trust me, mages are just waiting for you to pop this thing. Spiritual Attunement is a passive that gives them mana back based on healing taken.
Shit.
More designed for tanking here, obviously, but it's baseline for every spec, which definitely helps. And interestingly enough, there are also some faction-specific spells for paladins, and even before release, these are already at the center of some controversy. The Alliance gets Seal of Vengeance, which
I wonder what the fuck they were thinking, right? Because they made like a race or faction-specific things standardized in TBC insofar as like Fear Ward and things like that for priests, and they gave Shamans to Alliance and Paladins to Horde, and then they like added another type of, like, after getting rid of that division, they added division to Ret Paladins or Paladins with the different seals. It's just like they're just all over the place with their design, right? It's kind of weird.
Puts on a stacking dot, with the Judgment dealing holy damage increasing per stack. The Horde, on the other hand, gets Seal of Blood, which causes attacks to deal an additional 35% weapon damage as holy damage at the cost of health, and the Judgment to deal holy damage as well, which also deals some damage to the Paladin. Seal of Blood is universal.
Well, the thing is, Seal of Blood is better for ret, but Seal of Vengeance is better TPS for prot. So it's like, if I guess if you're a min-max prot paladin, you want to be Alliance, but if you're a min-max ret paladin, Seal of Blood is really good for DPS in raids, and also it's really good in PvP.
Usually seen as being the superior skill, thus Horde Paladins superior to Alliance Paladins by extension. Why? Well, for many reasons. It scales better with haste. Haste doesn't affect dots in the Burning Crusades, so more haste for Vengeance just means getting to 5 stacks quicker, so it scales very poorly. Seal of Blood.
Yeah, I think even Esfond is considering playing Horde in TBC because of Seal of Blood. Though, you know, it's like, between you and me, Ret Paladin DPS is still kind of dog shit in TBC, so it's like, with Seal of Blood, you get like a 10% DPS boost, maybe not even that much, to your already dog shit DPS. So I don't know, like what, like, okay, if you're wearing like tier 4 Bis gear, you know, Warlock might do like, you're wearing tier 4 Bis, a Warlock that's fucking owning might do like, you know, 1300, 1400 DPS, right? Red Paladin might do like 700. And then if you're like, if you're Alliance Red Paladin, it might like 700, and then if you're Horde, you might do like 750 or 760 with Seal of Blood. I'm pretty sure like that's kind of like the differential there. So it's like, is it really as big of a deal as people make it out to be? Like, big picture, not really. That's my take. Not really. In PvP, it's a little bit of a bigger deal. I'll be fair. In PvP, Seal of Blood is a pretty big difference, but I don't know. People put way too much emphasis on this. I totally agree. Hunter and Warlock ratios for Horde is bigger raid DPS because overall, but people never talk about these. Yeah. Well, I think the situation is like, it's just the nature of Paladin players. Paladin players are very vocal and zealous about their Paladin shit, right? So it's just like that. That's why it's a very prominent topic, is because Paladin players have made it a prominent topic. But yeah, as far as like the class balance between Horde and Alliance and what's better and what's this, like, the ratios are 10 times more of a bigger deal than any Paladin shit that goes on.
Blood does more damage overall.
The ratios are the big fucking deal.
Self-inflicted damage is actually a benefit due to that Spiritual Attunement passive, which restores 10% mana on healing taken. This doesn't work with overhealing. It must be actual heals, so the Seal of Blood also gets an edge in mana regeneration, which is important because seal twisting is still a thing in the Burning Crusade. Basically, you time your melee swings with changing seals to get the benefits of both. It's more damage, but taxing on your mana, so it's pretty big. In fact, due to its poor scaling, Alliance Retribution Paladins don't even use Seal of Vengeance, instead of going for the tried and true Seal of Command. This discrepancy is so large, in fact, that some private servers actually share the spell between factions, and people are calling for the same for the official re-release, but it remains to be seen what Blizzard will do. My guess is that they'll keep it faction-specific, just based on how they've handled Vanilla Classic, but we'll see. And for spec-specific abilities, Holy...
Like I said, the Paladin thing is like 1/10 of the issue. If you really want to solve like a faction balance thing, it, like, seriously, it's the racials. It's the fucking racials. I don't really give a fuck. If they choose to give Alliance Seal Blood, it like who fucking cares? Whatever. I don't give a fuck. Who fucking cares? That's how like inconsequential it is. I just don't give a fuck. Like, if they want to start talking about like balancing racials, then it's like, all right, we really got to fucking think about this at this point. But it's like, all right, if you give a 50 DPS boost to Alliance Red Paladins, like, literally, who gives a fuck? I don't care. It just doesn't fucking matter.
It gets Divine Illumination, which is a straightforward 50% mana cost reduction cooldown for the spammy parts of fights. Protection gets Avenger Shield, which covers up another big problem with vanilla Paladin tanks. That's the fact that they don't have a range spell. Any prot paladin will be familiar with these items, candles, that you farm off of level 5 kobolds because you are simply lacking a ranged ability for pulling in vanilla. This bounces.
Dude, I can't wait. Like, it's gonna be so funny to watch. We get into classic TBC, and we start having like red paladin logs for like, you know, like tanking big bosses like Gruul or something like that, where you just stand there and fucking DPS. Anyway, like you look at red paladin logs, I bet there's gonna be no fucking difference. Okay, clip this. I bet I'll put $100 on this. I bet there is zero statistical difference between Alliance red paladin logs and Horde red paladin logs. I bet it's just a toss up. I bet it's fucking wash. I bet it is just a complete non fucking issue.
Just between a few targets.
That's my bet.
Them. It just begs for a macro tied to it, referencing Captain America in some way. And lastly, we have Crusader Strike for Retribution Paladins, an instant cast melee ability that refreshes all judgments. Retribution Paladins are very stagnant in
PayPal. I'll PayPal it.
You just sort of auto-attack everything. I always called them the Netflix class. You attack a mob, switch to Netflix, come back, loot, attack a mob, switch to Netflix, and rinse and repeat. So an actual attack adds a ton of agency to their gameplay. It also refreshes all judgments, not just your own. Holy Paladins specialize in tank healing in the Burning Crusade due to their high HPS and efficient mana cost and returns. If you paid attention to their toolkit though, you've noticed that they've gotten 0 AoE heal capability, discounting the Judgment of Light, so they fall short in raid healing. But they're strong in their own ways. Blessings, auras, their ability to free themselves from roots, and even full immunity. Lay on Hands, which still has that 30% armor buff if they're talented for it. They're just more focused on tank healing is all. For PvP, they have their strengths and weaknesses.
Hand of a doll,
they
nice.
have high physical mitigation due to being plate and shield wearers, but a lot of their skills require them to be in the fray, which also puts them at risk, so it kind of evens out there. Also, aside from Holy Shock, their heals are all hard cast, which can also be an issue. Protection Paladins overall probably received the biggest power increase. They garnered the reputation of being the AoE tank in the expansion, and for good reason. With Consecration and that AoE taunt and just a 15-second cooldown, that's pretty much how they were designed. They're amazing for heroics, trash and raids, and even certain bosses and raid tiers as I remember. They didn't have a taunt, so give them a taunt. They run into mana issues, so give them this pass.
The problem is, like, a Prot Paladin just straight up can't main tank in raids, in 25-man raids. You just like physically cannot put out the threat per second you need to keep up with your pump or DPS. And if you try really, really hard, you're just gonna go You like, even if you're like properly mana consuming, you just can't fucking do it. Like I'm telling you, I don't like, dude. It's so hard to main tank as a Prot Paladin. We'll see. We'll try it. Like, I'm gonna be playing Prot Paladin. I'll show you how it is, but like tanking an encounter like Gruul or something, for example, it's just like, it's super fucking dog shit. Super fucking dog shit.
It's not an end-all solution, but if you're with the Shadow Priest, you're in pretty good shape, and you'll find plenty of Protection Paladins running around in the Burning Crusade. As for Retribution, as described earlier, this is the spec that's most affected by that Seal of Blood issue.
I mean, the thing is, like, the thing with Dark Runes, though, no one benefits more from a Dark Rune or Demonic Rune, whatever the fuck, more than a Prot Paladin, right? Because you're trading HP for mana, right? So you get the mana back, and then you get healed, because you've given yourself damage, and then you get mana back when you get healed also. So if you are planning on playing a Prot Paladin, you are going to either have to farm a fuck ton of Dark Runes or Demonic Runes, or buy a fuck ton of them. Probably farm them. You're going to spend a lot of time in Scholomance. What's up, Steve?
So it really depends on your faction. They do well, as I remember. Crusader Strike is nice because it refreshes all judgments, not just your own. And they always bring blessings and auras, just like any paladin. And you don't feel like you're AFK half the time anymore. In PvP, it's still pretty RNGs, so you'll have mixed results. If you're looking for the ultimate form of paladins, you're gonna have to wait until Wrath, where they go Super Saiyan. In BC, they're more in that KO Ken shit. And even though you have an instant attack now, a lot of your damage is fishing for those Seal of Command procs, and your big DPS cooldown is stealable by one of the most represented classes in BC Arena, even putting Dispelling aside. There are comps where they'll do well. I think pairing them with Shamans and Wind Fury is seen as being quite strong, but they're still getting into their rhythm in PvP in the Burning Crusade, at least in my opinion. It doesn't need to be explained further. Paladins received a lot of love in the Burning Crusade. They're often seen as being the most broken in a lot of ways, with most players relegated to Holy, but now all three specializations are a viable option, and there's always a reason to bring them.
Shaman. Is this the last class? How many more classes are there?
Winds be
Hey, this
at
is
your
all of
back.
it. That's it.
The final class on the list is the Shaman. Professionals in weaving the power of the elements, they provide a diverse toolkit in just about any situation. They operate on the totem system. Through 4 different elements, the Shaman can drop totems that provide critical buffs to themselves and their party members, or debuffs and damage to enemies. Extra melee swings, increased mana regeneration, area of effect slows. They have quite the arsenal at their disposal. Earth, fire, wind, water, and a little bit of heart go a long way. And their prowess in many aspects in the Burning
It's
Crusade
Kevin
is
Jordan!
unrivaled. Thanks, Kevin. Elemental is the nuker from range. This specialization focuses on improving your spellcasting. Restoration improves upon your healing and support toolkit to keep your allies from harm. And enhancement, although they still take advantage of their wide variety of
I just
spells,
hope they let us
more of a melee
level
DPS
Draenei
centric tree,
Shamans
preferring
and
a
vice
dual-wielding
versa, Paladins
playstyle
on
with
Horde
quick flurries of
before the
burst.
Dark Portal opens.
This expansion changed Shamans forever with the introduction of Bloodlust and Heroism,
Yep, this is
which
pretty
increases the
fucking
attack
good.
and casting speed of all party members by 30% for 40 seconds at a 10-minute cooldown. This class-defining ability at the time, like their totems, affected only themselves and their party members, but also had no exhaustion effect tied to it. This spell alone makes them extremely powerful in the raiding scene, and combined with their totems, they remain to be the kings of support.
Well, you know what happens? Like, let's say they have a TBC pre-patch, right? It's like patch 2.0, 2.0.0, right? So they've nerfed Mage AoE. So you can't Mage AoE boost your Draenei Shaman or your Horde Paladin. You have to Paladin boost them. This is when the Prot Paladins see the rise of the Prot Paladin begins. TBC pre-patch, okay? They are the boosters. They are the boosters.
And in
Mages are
PvP,
done.
Many people are surprised to learn that it works in Arena in BC, which is insane. I think it was Cataclysm that did away with a lot of the long cooldowns in Arena. And what new spells would you get other than totems? The Fire Elemental and Earth Elemental totems make their first appearance. The Fire Elemental dishes out some heavy AoE damage, and Earth is designed for pulling threat and tanking. The Wrath of Air totem is another party buff, which increases spell damage and healing of party members. Water Shield is a new shield that increases mana regeneration and restores mana on hit. Like Lightning Shield, it's only usable on yourself. A nice quality of life spell is Totemic Call, which instantly recalls all totems and refunds a bit of mana. In vanilla, when moving through a dungeon with patrols, Shamans always had to be careful of not leaving a stray totem behind to pull something by accident. Now you're clear with a simple click. Elemental Shamans get to play with a new totem called Totem of Wrath, which is a 3% crit and hit buff to all spellcaster party members. They also receive a big upgrade in the form of mana regeneration. One of their biggest weaknesses in Classic is that they just burn through mana so quickly, with few ways to regenerate it. Much like balanced druids, they get access to a talent that increases their mana regeneration based on their intellect stat. Enhancement gets Shamanistic Rage, which reduces damage taken, and also gives your melee hits a chance to regenerate mana equal to a portion of your attack power.
Gurgthok! Nice.
And, unlike the Paladin's Avenging Wrath, this isn't dispellable. They also get Unleashed Rage, which causes your crits to increase the melee attack power of party members by 10%, which is huge. And lastly, Restoration gets Earth Shield, which gives them a chance to ignore spell pushback when hit, and also heals a bit, and unlike the other two shields, this is castable on friendly units. DPS rankings aren't as important as people would lead you to believe, because Shamans are great for the crazy amount of buffs and utility that
every
they
raid
provide.
is going to want
Having
5
5
Shamans.
per raid was commonplace.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Got a Rex. Yeah. Here's the thing, like, if you want a guaranteed raid spot, always, throughout the entirety of TBC, play a Shaman. Shamans are the single most recruited person. Most recruited.
All 3 specs do well,
class.
depending on the raid tier. I think Enhancement takes a bit of time to ramp up, but the Shaman as a class is always in high demand. Talking PvP here, Shaman of any spec are great, since again, Bloodlust and Heroism work in Arena.
Sup, Roman?
And you also have Wind Fury Totem, Grounding, and much more great support. So no matter the spec, they have huge value from that alone. Speaking strictly elemental here though, they're still the burst machines as they are in Classic, but due to the resilience stat, as described earlier, it's not as extreme. Their damage is also based off of RNG with their Lightning Overload talent, which is sort of like Wind Fury for spells.
What is the
Vanilla,
resilience
their
cap?
strength was
Hold
that
up.
they're very bursty,
TBC.
but also reliable since that burst came from the Elemental Mastery
Resilience
talent.
cap.
So this is dampened by resilience and the RNG nature of Lightning Overload. They still do well though, and I expect them to be represented pretty well in BC. As mentioned, this is when enhancement finally gets their grubby paws off of the rightful warrior's two-handers and switch to dual wielding, with plenty of talent supporting that. They also bring that nice attack power buff for the melee, so
I don't know.
The DPS of the Shaman isn't what puts them in demand, it's all of these buffs. In PvP, they're about the same tier as Elemental, benefiting from the same strengths and suffering from the same weaknesses. Bursty, but RNG, so if you go all in for a kill, you better get it. Anyone who's played a Restoration Shaman in Vanilla Classic probably has a bit more wear and tear on their chain heal button. Well, you better get another one, because that's unchanged. Where the Paladin excels at tank healing, the Shaman excels at raid healing, and the chain heal spam becomes their biggest tool, whether it's for dungeons or raiding. Extremely powerful.
You know what all the warriors that are in Classic WoW can do? All the warrior flavor of the month players, they can just reroll Resto Shamans. Yeah. If you are a warrior in Classic WoW that's playing a warrior because you want a raid spot and you want to top the meters, you want to do something useful, just delete your warrior and level a Resto Shaman. There you go.
Full on heals alone.
Easy, problem solved.
In addition to the insane support, makes them in many players' eyes, quote, the best healer in BC.
Problem solved.
In PvP, they bring the same benefits from the Enhancement and Elemental Shaman as far as utility goes. Their Earth Shield, unfortunately, though, is dispellable, and unlike Druid and their Life Bloom, there's nothing to dissuade people from cleaning it immediately. This is also before the era of Riptide, so they suffer from that same issue as Paladins, as most of their heals being hard casts, which is fine if you can juke, but it does make you quite stationary and vulnerable. In my Classic video, I said that those looking to make friends should roll Healer, Tank, or Warlock, and that still stands, but for BC, you can safely add Shamans to the list. And no matter the activity, you'll find that people will come to you to party with them,
I wonder why Warlock.
not the other way around.
There it is, man. Oh, dude, I just remembered something. Hold up, let me link the video there, guys. That's it. I'm gonna pause it and wrap it up. Excellent video. Excellent video, if I might say myself.